Let me hit record.
All right.
Recording in progress.
And we are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Kosmographia podcast with Randall Carlson. And we got Rowan Carlson joining us for this live episode. Rowan is Randall's brother. So we're trying to get...
No, Randall is my brother.
Okay, Randall is Rowan's brother.
Yes, yeah. So get that clear. Yeah.
And we have
now you're
sort of Laura.
Yeah, Laura's in the background with us here.
Is Laura staying or going?
Lurking in the background.
She's lurking. That's right.
She's kind of shy.
Lurking Laura.
So what topics we got?
Welcome, Rowan.
Yeah, welcome, Rowan.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, great. Thanks. It's good to be here.
Rowan's been doing the logistics and the planning and the recon for the Cumberland tours we've been doing. So I've been taking care of that stuff out west, but on these local backyard for the Randall, you probably ought to tell us all about what Randwolf is also. But yeah, for these backyard tours, Rowan's been taking that on and they've been awesome so far.
We're in the process of planning our third one along the Cumberland Plateau. We started with the lower, then we went to the middle, which is mainly Tennessee, and now we're working on the Kentucky tour.
Gonna be awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're gonna do Middlesboro, Kentucky, which is, as far as I know, and it's probably not, but it claims to be, and I can't think of actually any others besides it for the moment, but B is the only town in America that's built inside of an astrobleme.
Hey, can you turn your mic up just a touch? Give it a couple of dog biscuits on that old knob. Buddy.
How about now?
That's better.
Okay, so
you qualified that by saying America. I was gonna bring up one in Germany, but yeah, as far as America, I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, when you think about like the Beaverhead structure, but this is a little different because it's a 5-mile impact, and you can still, the crater form is still actually evident. In fact,
the Middlesboro.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 3.25 miles.
Oh, 3.25 miles.
Yeah.
See what I've had to put up with all these years? Now you're beginning to understand.
This is what I have to put up with every time we do a show because I've got this guy. So that's the goal here. Is we've got the brothers versus the brothers plus Brad. So
well, Brad is the referee, right?
That's right. Yeah. Brad's got a ref.
The quadrature of brotherhood banter here. I don't know if I want to referee all that.
So I've got to quit picking on Randall and start picking on you guys. Okay.
I was hoping to team up with you to pick on Randall. That was my goal.
Well, while you guys are bantering, I'm pulling up some maps here. And I thought that I would see if I couldn't find Middlesboro.
It's always great too, Randall, when you're sharing those maps to do the F11 full screen. But I guess with your dual screen, then you got to remember to back out of the full screen. But yeah, it's nice to get that extra.
My dual screen, I forgot that. So it's not as easy as life is not as easy as it once was.
Yeah, and he's talking about Middlesboro Crater because that would be a central focus of the tour.
Yeah,
of the next one. Yeah,
we don't have our lodging set yet, but we may even stay a little bit in the crater itself. Stay a night in the crater. And nice. All sorts of strange, wonderful things occur in the crater at night. So that's why we kind of want to stay there.
Excellent.
At least one night.
And we showed this briefly, or Randall did on one of the previous podcasts about how it's right at the Cumberland Gap. Well, okay, he's going to show you there.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the Middlesboro Crater, there wouldn't be a Cumberland Gap.
That's right. Cumberland Gap, you can see right here where 25E. Well, there's the gap.
Yeah, 25E is the tunnel.
That's the tunnel, right?
Tunnel. But the gap, you can see the gap is right here. And then you come through the gap, and then you can see the circularity of this basin. I guess you could call it a basin right here. And Yeah, so there it is. And so
Yeah,
when we were
central uplift, you can see that very clearly.
right, the Baptist church is essentially built right on the central uplift.
Yeah.
And when Brad and I there, what do you remember what year we went there? It's been a while now.
Man, it has been a while. It's probably 2004, 03. Yeah.
Almost, God, 19 years, 18
No
years,
doubt.
something like that. Anyways, we found our way up, found a great vantage point up here on the northwestern rim. Let's see, where were we? We were probably up here.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, we talked to a local, or you did, as you always do, and yeah, he told us to take this logging road, go out the west side of town, and turn on so and so road, and it's a logging road, and stay out of the way of the trucks, but it'll take you all the way up to the ridge, and then you can see the whole crater. So yeah, we went up there.
Yeah, that's probably. Let's see, right? I bet you this is it. We were probably right up in here somewhere. But yeah, then you can look down. You can see the gap on the other side. It was an impressive perspective, and to be able to stand there and look and be able to really see the rim, because you got the mountains as upraised here, and you could see the uplift in the middle. And we did try to go to the museum in town, but I think we were there on a Sunday, or we were too late or something, so we didn't get in there. But I'll bet that it's still there, and we should try to get in this time to see what they got in there.
And there's also a real good overlook at Pinnacle Overlook, it's called, in Cumberland Gap National Park.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, now here with the cloud, look at here. Can you see this?
Yeah.
I see it.
This is, so look, you can make out the rim, the basin, and it's filled with fog.
You could go bird
wondering-
fishing in there.
Go what?
Look at that.
Fishing.
Bird fishing. So anyhow,
Not to be taken literally.
Exactly.
It's a sky lake, Randall.
Yeah, it's just a lake of clouds. It seems like you could fish for birds in there.
oh, okay. Well, that joke was a little too subtle for me. It was over my head.
Rowan got it.
Yeah.
Texas two-stepped right by you.
So,
Yeah, so you can see on the map Danube National Forest right there, a little to the northwest of the crater. We'll be spending some time in there. That's where Cumberland Gap is, actually. Cumberland Falls
yeah.
is in the Danube National Forest. And there's Eagle Falls and a number of other Lick Creek Falls. We might go to that one. But some pretty nice areas in the Danube National Forest.
So we're still thinking about doing that maybe in October, if we can pull it all together with everything else that's going on. So kind of warn people early this time.
Yep, October 23rd, and should be up on the website in first week of May and be able to sign up.
Beautiful.
Okay, you can see Middlesboro right here, and then right up here is Cumberland Falls, which is quite an impressive waterfall, actually. Let's see if I can if they'll give me a picture of it. And yeah, there we go. And, it occupies your typical horseshoe-shaped cataract, which is clear evidence of much greater floods at some time in the past. We don't know exactly when, but I would take an educated guess that one of the mega floods that came through here was probably at the end of the Ice Age, but there may have been earlier ones. But yeah, let's see what else they got here. Oh yeah, look here, somebody's posted some of the gigantic boulders that are just below the falls. There's a huge number of these really big boulders. So again, that's also evidence of something much more formidable than the modern flow. Yeah, you can see here. Okay, this is not Cumberland Falls. This is.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. Okay, they finally switched for me. Yeah, it looks like maybe my system's way behind.
You weren't seeing the pictures?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, the
okay.
boulders didn't come up until just the very end. Now it's switched back to right up under the falls.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So that's on the itinerary.
Then we'll be going north of Middlesboro to Natural Arches State Park and Red River Gorge. And the Natural Arches State Park has the highest concentration of natural bridges and natural arches east of the Rockies.
Okay,
So
right in
there's-
Kentucky.
Natural arches.
Yeah, natural arch scenic. That'd be it. Scenic area. Maybe
Yeah.
try that. It's a state park.
Yeah. Okay, look at this. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh yeah.
So they're everywhere up there. You turn around and you see more arches.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is some serious and intense erosion there.
Yeah, and there's natural bridges there as well.
Is that limestone or sandstone? What
No, that'd be sandstone.
Okay.
Also, wanna
Probably
say-
of the Kentucky Rock Castle Formation, and we were in Tennessee Rock Castle Formation a lot, where we went to see the Twin Arches. That was a similar sandstone laid down pretty much at the same time.
Wow.
So-
That was practically Kentucky. We were far north Tennessee right there, right?
Yes, yeah, and that was in Big South Fork, and that actually extends up into Kentucky. So we'll be visiting that area just a little north of where we were in the Middle Cumberland tour.
Yeah, it's beautiful countryside. We were there at pretty naked of the leaves, but I guess October it'll still have some green and some color going on. Probably looking
Probably
forward to
so.
that.
Yeah. Of course, the thing about that is that it's beautiful any time of year. I mean, it's beautiful in the summer when you have all the foliage, but then in late fall, early spring, when you can see all the rock formations, that's beautiful as well.
Because you guys, Russ, you certainly, and Brad, I think you commented too when you were doing recon up there that how these landscapes really are hidden
Yes.
within that
Absolutely.
canopy. You see the stuff in the western states, and it's spectacular erosion, all of the cataracts and slot canyons and boulder deposits, all of the things, but you've got all of that here too. It's just not as visible. And so
Yeah, I've always called that naked geology out there in the west.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It's just laid bare,
Mm-hmm.
wide open to see. I see it all.
But yeah, it was amazing on the Middle Cumberland tour to, you're walking through dense woods and then you just come up on something you expect to see in the desert, like one of those huge arches or this
Yeah.
massive waterfall in a cataract, but it's almost completely invisible until you stumble upon it.
Right on it. Yeah.
Really, really amazing. Yeah, Randall, turn your mic up a bit more, buddy.
Turn my mic up a bit
still-
more. How
Yeah,
about
we
that?
got to
Yeah.
crank it up. You're competing with the old camera mics.
Yeah.
Bigger dog biscuit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
how's it sound? How it sounds good.
I would keep cranking it up.
Keep
Where's it
cranking.
at?
That's about 2:00. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh,
5.
yeah. There we go. Get it up
Okay.
there. 5 o'clock.
5:00.
There we go. That's better.
Oh boy.
And now when you start screaming at us, it'll have some really cool
It'll-
distortion.
It'll have an impact. Yeah. That's right.
Good.
I also want to say hello to the whole chat. Got a bunch of people in the chat. And
Yeah.
Also, yeah,
Kyle
welcome.
DeLille,
Yeah. Thanks.
first person to donate
20
20
Maple Leafs.
Canadian. And he
Kyle, what's
apologizes
up?
for not being able to donate real money.
That's right.
But we still appreciate you, Kyle.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And also Vector Forest donated $20. Thanks to you for that as well. And we got pictures from the last tour. Rowan, Randall, Brad. Who wants to go first?
I got some tucked away.
Yeah.
Kyle going out to canyons again
Oh, yeah.
in Utah.
Oh, you
Yes,
mean
I'll be
Kyle
there.
DeLille? Or
Oh,
Yeah. I bet he's going out.
he might
DeLille?
be. Yeah.
better be.
Yeah, he better be there.
That's
So
right.
Kyle Delisle, you're going to be joining us in Montana, and I know it's not Delisle, okay?
Oh,
But hey,
Open
I love the
line,
sound
open
of it.
line for Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle Delisle. Hey, it's Kyle Delisle.
Well, I'll watch for his response in the chat and see if he says he's going to be in Montana or in Utah.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think I'm going to be in Utah.
Right.
Yeah, you're making a big mistake.
Big mistake.
I know, but God, I gotta, I've got this list of things. Like, hey,
Yeah.
Well,
the
we got a
podcast studio, man, that's coming along. Let's see, how could I?
We got a Snake Bros meetup coming up. Are you going to be in Texas to do some kayaking with us?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh no, you go and lay that out there. Gee.
You do flat water kayaking or a little white water?
It's mostly flat.
Yeah.
It's
Just
we've
going to be.
got some rapids. But
It's just going to be a chill weekend. Barbecuing, hanging out, and doing a little bit of kayaking.
just
And,
kayaking through
Nice.
through the canyons on
through the
New
canyons
Oasis.
in the hill country. Yeah.
Very nice.
You guys aren't invited. None of you guys.
What was
are
the
invited.
what was
We want all of
the
y'all to come though.
what was the site we went to where there was a lot of bedrock? I think the limestone outcrop there was a falls and all the potholes.
Oh, McKinney Falls,
McKinney
outside of
Falls, yeah.
Austin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful place.
That was quite a place. Yep.
All right,
So-
let's see some middle Cumberland tour pictures. Who's going to go first?
Yeah,
heard
somebody try that out. I'm kind of concerned about my resources here.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I should be super fast with this new laptop, but yeah, I'm running off a tablet which says it's 5G, but I don't know. I'm doing it a hotspot. So
Brad's
okay.
on the road.
to be recording and sharing and
Yeah.
running through some photos, I don't know if it's ready for all that.
well, let's see. I
I can try it and see if it crashes, and
You
I'll
got to let it warm up.
see if I can come back.
Well, I could show you a few
You
here.
gotta
Yeah.
break those new computers in. After 500 hours, you gotta change all the fluids and stuff.
Then you can turn it up a little bit.
Yeah, and then you can really start sharing stuff.
Yep, I'm on the long road to Sedona by way of Pittsburgh and by way of the Scablands.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see what Rowan's got. All right, there's one of the arches. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is, let's see, 130 feet across at the base and 90 feet high. So it's huge. It's massive. And it's probably 50 feet thick from, one edge to the other. And you can easily walk up on top of it. It's pretty amazing. And then there's one just right next to it, but the rocks jut out between them, so you can never get a picture of both of them together. But it's pretty impressive. And just like Russ was saying, you're just kind of walking through the woods, and then all of a sudden there it is.
Yep. It just looms up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why nobody's in the picture. They're all up on the top of the bridge.
Well, this was taken, I think, when I was just on one of my solo recons.
Oh, that was the prior. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
I didn't get any of mine either because I was way behind.
Okay.
I tried to climb up the side. It didn't work.
Well, let's see. I don't know
But
how.
the sign there gives you a little bit of scale, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
Let's see if I
Yeah, I
go
didn't
to
even
full
notice the sign
screen.
until you said that.
And there's just
Yeah, that place was amazing.
that's Burgess Falls.
Yeah.
And that's 130 feet high waterfall. And it's kind of the focus waterfall of a group of waterfalls on the river. And we walked by and we saw, I think this was the fourth waterfall on the river that we looked at.
That's interesting because it's like a reverse cataract, right?
it
there.
is.
Yeah.
Like it tore away all the soft dirt. The stuff around the sides looks like loose dirt, but that whatever the water's falling over, is that just like solid rock?
Yeah. So it's really kind of an unusual formation.
That's cool.
Well, this is the one on the Highland Rim, right?
Well, yeah, right up here at the top of the falls is the Eastern Highland Rim, and then if you go down to the bottom of the falls, then you're on the Central Basin.
The transition is that abrupt,
Yes, yeah,
and that I'm sure has something to do with the rather unusual because like you said, it's almost like a reverse. There's this prominence coming out, and yet you can kind of see over here, the scalloping is very cataract-like. But
Yeah, like over here, you can see here and then somewhat over here.
yeah,
But then you have the protrusion of the falls. But I think that's probably because it was the limestone and then shale.
and the shale is softer than the limestone. I'm presuming in this case it usually is, but not necessarily.
Yeah.
When we were out there, they just had a 6-inch snowstorm, right? So there's some substantial melt. So there's pretty good volume flowing over there now. I wonder which direction it goes when it's not full or all the way across like that. Have you seen it? It
goes down the two sides and leaves
across the side. That's exposed. The points out exposed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yes.
So here was All Saints Chapel on the campus of the University of the South in Swanee, Tennessee, which is near it's in the southern part of Tennessee, and the closest town is Monteagle on Interstate 24, which goes essentially east-west across the plateau. So yeah, this is. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask Russ what he made of that place. It was quite interesting, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
A lot of symbolism in there.
Full of symbolism.
Full of symbolism. Yeah. So somebody was onto something.
Yeah. And soaring, beautiful architecture. It's just, it was, I don't know.
And it's primarily built all of, local sandstone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had a presence,
it did
a density of place that was really interesting.
Russ was concerned about spontaneously combusting, I think.
Yeah, I was afraid to go past the holy water font.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the reasons that it's there, because if you do start to combust, you've got water you can quickly splash onto your.
Well, I saw it boiling after Brad walked past it, and I knew that it might be dangerous if I did it. So
yeah.
Yeah, that place was really impressive. Just incredible architecture, and the whole campus was beautiful.
Incredibly well. I think it's been judged as one of the most beautiful campuses in America.
Yeah.
And I could certainly see why.
Sure.
And we had what was his name? He had flutes that he had handmade, and he went to the back.
Nathan,
that's right.
Yeah.
He went goat god.
Yeah, he went to the back of the church with those handmade flutes he had and sat down and it was unbelievably beautiful.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
With him playing that flute back there in that church with the acoustics. It was just awesome.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they were a great couple. I really enjoyed them on the tour.
That was Nathan and Nam.
Nathan and Nam, that's right.
Right.
Yeah. And I have some of
Howdy. They're on there with us tonight.
That's Nathan and that's Nam there.
Full exposure.
And this I don't know how this guy got there. He just kind of showed up one day and just insisted on going with us.
One of those, yeah. Hey, I heard you guys are going to do the tour out here. I'm just going to tag along.
Yeah.
Give me the keys.
No, this was a pretty good bunch.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And we got the crasher there too.
Oh, that's right. There was somebody there who knew who Randall was.
Thank you so much,
Yep.
Crypto Chris. He's got to run, but he just donated $100.
Oh yeah,
It
thanks,
says,
Crypto Chris.
Oh
he
my
says,
God.
thank you for everything.
Thanks,
you do,
Crypto.
Randall and team.
Man, he's been extremely generous. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
He says, I'll continue to support you guys with my means. Unfortunately, I have to run, but we'll watch the rest of this later tonight. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Cool. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, this was a great group of people here. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed every single person here on this tour.
Is that from Chuck? That must be one of Chuck's photos. I don't think I've seen that one. It's nice and clear.
Yeah, I think I gave him my phone and he took it with, I think.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So where did Chuck end up posting his stuff? We should find, where is that?
Well, yeah, he posted it somewhere. I can't remember where, but
Yeah, he's got like a drive online that we could access.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I wonder if any people, any of the listeners or watchers can pick out Randall in this photo.
Isn't he on the right? He's on the left, right? He's wearing the shades. The
The
guy with the
he's
beard.
He's on
leaning
the
up.
left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him over there. The dude.
That's Nicky. He's a
That's
great
Nicky
guy.
the dude. That's right.
Yeah.
And there's Brad with his hat. Yeah.
Yep.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
who let
Nicky took the beard challenge to heart, man. He's giving you a run.
And
Yeah,
we
I
have-
might have to show him how you grow a beard.
Yeah.
and we had some children with us, which is great
Oh yeah.
because they really loved it. To see the kids outside enjoying the outdoors was awesome.
Yeah. And kids enjoying hanging out with grown-ups.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, after
Right.
yeah,
Why not?
I commented how this was Patty and
Patty and Sophie. Patty
Sophie.
and
I
Sophie.
knew it wasn't Sophia. Patty and Sophia, their second trip with us. And Sophie is great. On the first trip, she was very shy. The first day didn't say much or didn't interact too much. But by the end of the fourth day, I guess she was just part of the bunch, you know, and she was having fun, singing songs, telling jokes, playing tricks on people. So yeah, she was great. And little
Shinga.
Shinga, yeah, Shinga was good too.
Shinga's right here.
Yep.
So they're
Shinga's
actually about the same age. They're kind of different sizes, but they're still the same age. But
Clyde there said that Shinga was tall for his age, and I thought, yeah, he's only
Yeah.
9,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And this was taken at Fall Creek Falls Overlook. And unfortunately, you can't see the falls.
Yeah, right. 265-foot falls right behind Randall and Steven there.
Yeah. But yeah, so if we took them out of the picture, we could see the falls.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, good time.
yeah, this is a little stop in Fall Creek Falls Park that we made at the Grotto,
Uh-huh.
it's called. And there's the group up there. Yeah, and it's of course, it was when was the tour? About, I guess, a month ago, right?
It's been that long now, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, just a little less.
Yeah, so the water, of course, is extremely cold, and Nam dropped a knife by accident into the water. So one of the fellows, Timothy, he disrobed and jumped right in and searched around on the bottom of the river and found it, brought it back up. So
he was the hero of the day.
it was, yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a good place for the ice pool challenge there, but he's the only one that got in.
Yeah. Because when we were there, it had snowed just a few days prior, like Brad had mentioned earlier. So our first day out, there was still quite a bit of ice and snow.
Yeah.
But
So
it's just kind of interesting because here, like this rock formation here, it just all over the place, wherever you go. There's just huge cliffs and just
And
beautiful.
etched like that.
Yeah.
So typically, you know, if you've got nice slow moving water with some entrained sediment in there, maybe some sand, it's going to tend to smooth things off. But if you've got really intense flow, shear with a lot of shear forces, plus, you know, much larger aggregate that's in there, it just literally does kind of what you see there.
Yeah, just plucks.
Yeah. And gouges. It plucks and gouges.
Yeah.
Might mention that Timothy he took a break from his, what was he, about 150 miles into the, he was going to hike the Hyper
Appalachian Trail. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's there now. Heard from somewhere. He was just approaching, he was still in North Carolina.
Yeah, he was going to be in Hot Springs, which is about 15 miles up the road from me. And I had left like the day he was coming in. So yeah, I didn't cross paths, but yeah, he was going to check out and, dip into the hot springs that are there right along the French Broad River going through town.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Here he's up hiking the AT, and then he takes a 5-day break and comes over and hikes with us, and goes back to it. And was he projecting to be up in Maine? Maybe in October, was it, or September?
Yeah,
Right.
he was going to do a full, 5-6 month trek. I mean, all summer,
Yeah.
try to go the whole way. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's committed.
So on some of our short hikes that we took, that didn't bother him a bit. He was just zipping along. He had hiking legs.
Yep, good guy, and he's journaling along the way too. He's sending stuff back to his sister, and she's posting stuff. And we need to find out how to track him.
Oh yeah,
See his stories and logs along the way.
Yeah. So this is let's see if I can play.
So
it.
when we were at this one, it was really roaring.
Yeah.
So I guess, Rowan, did you take that picture? Did you take this video when you were scouting, or is this?
No, this is the day of when we were there.
Okay, yeah, this thing was really.
And Ron, also, when you're doing share screen, when you first click share screen, you'll get a little option. You get a little checkbox to enable the sound.
Oh, so you're not hearing this?
No, I don't hear it.
So stop the share.
Yeah.
And go back, click share screen, and then you'll see.
It's probably just going to be really loud. I don't know.
Well, it was really loud.
Yeah, it was
Russ.
incredibly loud. That's what I'm saying. But
stop share. Okay.
We can try
Now,
it.
click your screen share again. You should see the little
Share
checkbox down on the left.
Yep. We'll go there. There. Started from the beginning.
Also, I want to say thanks to Pyramid Man and also Frank Sawyer, who just both donated $20. Or Frank was $20.01.
Oh, thanks,
Okay.
Frank.
And Frank wants
Thank
to know,
you, gentlemen.
Frank wants to know, where can I get more of that sacred geometry / history of the imperial measurement system? So maybe that's something we can cover sometime, Randall.
Yeah, we should definitely dive into that.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
Oh, me too.
Absolutely.
And I got some
That's some of
great
my
stuff
favorite.
on that.
The meteorology.
Yep, sacred metrology. Exactly.
Love that.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. Thanks for the prod there. And that was from Frank, or who was that?
that was from Frank. Yep.
Frank. Yeah. Thanks, Frank, for the reminder. It'd be a great subject matter to dive into.
Yep. And for people just tuning in, we're looking at video and photos of the Middle Cumberland tour. Just to let you guys know. So Rowan's about to play us a video of this waterfall. Where was this, Rowan?
Well, this was in Fall Creek Falls State Park.
That's right. Okay.
And this is actually called King Creek Cascades. The big King Creek Falls is just downstream a couple hundred yards, but this is called Cascades. But it's today, or the day this was shot, there was so much water that it turned into waterfalls. Because typically in the summer months, this is a real nice swimming hole out in here. But of course, you couldn't do any of that on this day. But yeah, pretty. And then you'll see when the camera pans up, then you'll see the suspension bridge above it and somebody walking across, so you can kind of get a little idea for scale.
Mm-hmm. Can you do full screen? Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's somebody up there.
Yeah, you can see just how all the rock was plucked away, just kind of sheared off.
Yep.
All along in here.
So it should be noted here that this is a pretty exceptional flow. Typically, this is not the normal flow. This is considerably more than you would see most of the time you came here.
Those suspension bridges were a lot of fun.
They were. Yeah.
And you got a bunch of people walking across them, they started to sway quite a bit. It was entertaining. Yeah.
Well, I found that it's like one of those things, you have to get yourself in sympathetic resonance.
That's right.
With the vibratory frequency of the bridge. And if you do that, you can navigate it. But I was seeing people that just couldn't make that connection.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're going the one way when they should be going the other way. And
yep, grabbing onto stuff, falling over. Yeah, fun.
Like looking like they were drunk.
Yep.
And this here is Cumberland
Pilot?
Falls,
Oh, okay.
which we actually didn't make it to. That was on the day we were gonna, after we
Right.
went to Burgess Falls, we were gonna go to Cummins Falls, but then we ran out of time. And it's a pretty cool place, because then you can hike down into the canyon and hike up right up under the falls and walk here in this shelf area right in
Shelf.
here. Yeah, and climb up here and stand under the waterfall, and it's really cool. But you have to wade across the river a couple of times to get there. Kind of zigzag your way back and forth across the river to get up there, but it's well worth it.
So look at that beautiful green water. I mean, when
Yeah.
in the summer, is that a swimming hole?
Yes, yep.
I could sure seem like it would make
Yeah,
a
it
good
would
swimming
get-
hole.
Can get very populated there on the weekends, nice summer weekends. Yeah, but so we'll probably hit that on our next Middle Cumberland tour, because we'll repeat all three areas. And I guess that's all I have for that I threw into this little folder here.
I will mention that that's one of the primary places we're looking for real estate. The
Yes.
Cumberland Plateau.
Yeah,
It has a lot of really good advantages to it. As far as east of there's, one of the works that we've consulted, strategic relocation, goes to state by state analysis and province by province analysis of North America. Where do you want to be if the shit comes down? And what kind of things could, come down? And where do you want to be if things happen? And, so there's a lot of different criteria because there's a lot of different kinds of things that would happen, let's say a political upheaval that caused economic effects might be different than, say, a repeat of the Carrington event where, a Carrington level event or above could, disrupt computer operations for even up to a couple of months. So then what happens? Right. Well,
Yeah, including power grids.
including power grids.
we
Right.
should mention quickly what the Carrington event was.
That was a solar storm in 1850. What was the year of it again?
Wasn't it after the
We'll look it
Civil
up.
War?
Yeah, probably.
I'll look
I
it up.
think, I think Kyle is on it. Carrington event, Kyle.
Russ is looking it up actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm following the comments. I'm looking at these comments that people are
Okay.
posting, and there's some chatting about the Great Fires too. A lot of people are really getting into that. That's cool.
Good. Yeah. And we'll have some awesome one or two more. I think probably one we'll be able to.
That last
But yeah.
episode was epic. It hasn't come out yet, but yeah, look
Oh.
forward to that. Right, Brad? I didn't even finish editing it.
1859, September.
Okay. I said
Oh,
1857.
you're right, yeah.
Recording stopped.
No, Brad
Brad just-
froze and died.
yep,
so
he just
I guess
died.
looks like I have to record this. And he's gonna get mad. So let's see. Record.
Recording in
I
progress.
guess Brad just got hit by the Carrington event.
Brad.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
took
that's
him
what
out.
it was.
Yep. It'll be
Poor
rolling
Brad.
down the East Coast toward you guys next.
I guess so.
We're gonna have to watch for the. We're gonna have to let him back in. Maybe we shouldn't let him back in the meeting.
Yeah. Now it's just brothers versus brothers. This
That's
is how
right.
it should be, guys.
And hey, some people in the chats. Well, I think it was David was wondering why you don't have a beard, Rowan, and if you have a beard, are you more powerful than Randall? Or what's going on there?
Well, I've got a little bit of one. I've got some shadow. Does that count?
No way.
It does.
No.
Randall says no.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna put the kibosh on that. That does not qualify as a beard.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
Well,
I
I did
just
have a beard at one time.
Oh yeah.
Didn't rival Randall's though.
Never. Oh okay.
I don't remember you ever having a beard.
Yeah. Back in let's see, late 80s, I guess. No, early 90s.
Oh, really?
It was a grunge beard.
A
Yeah,
grunge. Oh, one of those. Okay.
One of those.
A grunge. Yeah. Well, when we were kids, beards were very unusual.
For kids, yeah, I think so.
Oh, for kids. Yeah, it was unusual for kids. Yeah. Like, it was pretty unusual, say, for kids under 10 years of age.
Were you walking around with a beard at
But
10?
yeah, I mean, I started early. Of course, yeah, I mean, it's, at 7, it was 8, it was just peach fuzz, but, it wasn't a full beard until I got in 6th grade.
Somebody's gonna Photoshop a beard onto Rowan just to see.
That's right. Somebody in the chat needs to take a screenshot and Photoshop Randall's beard onto Rowan just to see what it looks like.
Oh my gosh. Better run away.
Yeah, I haven't seen my face since 1997. I shaved off my beard for a couple of months, but it got to be too much trouble to shave. And then before I knew it, it was back again. So I said, screw it.
Yeah.
No, if I had a beard, then I may actually start looking like Randall.
Oh yeah, that's not good.
That would be a scary thing. Yeah.
But what was the reality show where the guys had the huge beards a few years ago?
Oh,
What was
what's
it?
Duck?
Oh, Duck. Yeah, Duck Dynasty.
Duck
Oh,
Dynasty.
Duck Dynasty. That was it.
Wow, I can't believe I got that pop culture reference.
I know it.
I don't have TV, but
Oh, yeah.
we have internet, so it was on the internet.
Yeah.
But I've never seen it.
I just remember, I never seen the show. I just remember there was a show where they had
Respectable
some-
beards.
respectable beards. Yeah, like Nikki
Yeah, Nikki's
Scale
beard
beards.
is respectable. I agree.
or ZZ Top beards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that, you ever wonder about they have ZZ Top and the three of them, the lead guitar and the bass player, both the guys that had the huge beards. And then the drummer who didn't have a beard ever throughout the whole thing, his name was Frank Beard. I always thought that was something a wee bit unusual. So
Yeah.
I can see Russ is just processing that. The
Well-
door is opening.
Where were you going with the Carrington event, Randall?
Yeah.
We got
We
sidetracked there.
definitely need to keep going down that route.
Oh, 1859. Well, if we, a repeat of the Carrington event could cause major disruption in our communications grid
Yep.
and computers.
Yes.
Everything now is linked digitally. And so, if, computers go down for a few weeks, that's going to be considerably chaotic for a while.
And so you were talking about the book that
Strategic relocation. Yeah. And he evaluates and grades different places as far as where you want to be if society collapses. And I don't necessarily think that society is going to collapse, but I don't necessarily think that my house is going to burn down, but we still have fire insurance, right? I don't necessarily think that I'm going to get in a head-on collision when I pull out of my driveway, but even though the state forces me to, even if it didn't force me to, I'd still have insurance. So you do certain things for the unexpected, for the outlier events. And the fact is it can happen, and if it does, it's important that you're prepared on one level or another. So I would suggest, the way things are being run right now, one can't be too sure that there's not going to be some serious bumps in the road, because there's such serious mismanagement on so many levels right now that, when you look at it, let's say supply chain issues that are currently plaguing us, the high and increasing cost of energy. These things are not just natural things. These are results of policies that are being made by politicians. And, I don't think that these politicians, at least when I look at certain politicians now that are into places of too much power and influence for their level of their competency, that they're really have the slightest idea what the hell they're doing. But anyways, the point was the Cumberland Plateau is a highly rated area for multiple reasons.
So that's
In
one.
fact, it's the most highly rated area east of the Mississippi.
Yeah. And that's just one of the many reasons why we're looking at the Cumberland Plateau for property.
Right.
I mean, the whole project that's being developed could potentially be located on the Cumberland Plateau.
That's cool.
Right. It would
All
be
right.
a great, think about the campus at Swanee there with the university that we visited. Russ, you would agree, wouldn't you? That was, as soon as you get on that campus, you start walking around, there's a certain atmosphere, a mood. And it's a very, I haven't thought about what adjectives would be good for it, but you really almost feel like it's the quality of the place really comes through.
Yes, it does.
And it does. And it has something to do, I think, with the natural forces of the landscape there, but also with what they've done.
That's right. Just the architectural style that they've used throughout, at least that area that we were in. I don't know what the entire campus looks like, but it's got a presence and a weight and a kind of calmness.
It does. And part of it is it's the design, but it's also using the native materials.
Right.
The sandstone is pretty much from that site.
That's right.
So it's kind of going into a place, and this is like it harkens back to what a lot of the building and architecture of the ancient world was all about. And with some modern, if you look at the work of Frank Lloyd Wright and the organic architecture, that whole concept, which was the total integration of the pre-existing natural landscape and the creation of some kind of a infrastructure that reflects the energy of the landscape, the mood of the landscape that's already there. And of course, one of the primary strategies employed in that kind of an enterprise is the utilization of, as much as possible, of those native materials. That's what's interesting about like what they're doing at Arcosanti. If you're familiar with that at all, Arcosanti.
I'm not familiar with that.
Not familiar with that. Okay, so Arcosanti was the brainchild of Paolo Salieri, who had been a student of Wilhelm Reich, and he came up with a concept. I'll go ahead and pull it up here because it was one of the things, early inspirations I had as far as thinking along these ideas. And as soon as you see some of the
Well, while you're pulling that up, let me say thanks again to Vector Force. Another $100, and he says, "Bye, Randall, and peace to you." So I guess he's got a love and peace. Yep.
Thanks, Vector Force. As always, we do appreciate it.
We do. And then there's a question too. Maybe we can tackle a little bit later from Frank.
Sure.
Asking, how did you afford to travel so much and gain the knowledge that you have?
Okay, that's a fair question.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to do a share screen here, and we're going to try to see a few of these images of Arcosanti.
Whoa.
Yeah. Look at this place. So let's see here. What else can we find here? Okay, check this out.
Rex sent us some beer money, he says. $20.
Oh,
Thanks, Rex.
Thanks, Russ.
Rex.
Rex. Oh, Rex. Okay, I guess I'll have to take up beer drinking then.
Rex, Russ, what's the difference?
I'm not giving you any beer money. That's the difference.
Okay. Come on here, bro. All right. Here's what they're doing. Let's see. Can we get this out of the way and see the photo? Nah, I guess not. We kind of get the idea. What they've done is all of these buildings are sculpted out of this material that they call desert-crete. And desert-crete is essentially, here he is, architect, right disciple, Paolo Saleri at 93 dies. And that was, when was that? 2013. So I met him in 1974. I went and attended some classes and a workshop he did on his architectural philosophy. So that was where I first, well, no, because I'd heard of Arcosanti and his project before I went and attended this seminar with him. Here he studied at Taliesin West with Frank Lloyd Wright, created environmentally conscious concept of arcology. Arcosanti project never fully realized in his lifetime. Let's get back to the pictures. Let me see. Well, you can kind of see it there. So it's all made out of this desert-crete, they call it. And look at here. Let's see if we can get some more. And so the desert-crete is literally a conversion of the existing material taken right from the desert floor where the buildings are located. So in other words, there's been no transportation. They've taken the desert material, the sand and the gravel and the rock and stuff that's all prevalent on the site. And they have sort of, in a way, kind of almost alchemically transformed it into this desert-crete. And then they've sculpted the buildings out of this desert-crete. And now, is that not a very, very cool idea?
Yeah.
And even like the block.
Yeah.
You see down at the bottom of the photo, the lower right. I mean, they made all the block.
Yes,
So
they did. It's all made in the, look at here, the pottery type stuff. I guess this is one of the workshops where they're making this. But yeah, I mean, I love that idea. To me, that's so yeah, you use your native materials. If you go into the forests of eastern Tennessee, you use the limestone, the sandstones that are here. You use the pines, the timber to build out of, and as much as possible, you utilize the material that's right there available at the site. So the Arcosanti apse, a semi-dome at Arcosanti, a tiny settlement founded as an experimental of the future in Yavapai County, Arizona's high desert. Oh yeah, the apse is designed to shelter the community's casting of bronze bells whose sails support the. So these, you can actually see the bells. I think these would be some of the castings, the bell castings back here. You see them on the shelf. So that's Arcosanti. That's always been a source of inspiration to me. Let's see if we can.
So that the buildings are actually part of the landscape.
Yes, the buildings are actually part of the landscape. It's almost as if they've organically just grown out of the landscape.
Yeah.
With the help of all these, hominid ants, bipedal ants. They've transformed the desert material into these structures. Oh yeah. So yeah, they have a restaurant there and they do tours, and it's definitely worth a visit. So I would like to really include this on future Four Corners and Southwest tours. Go back here. I've only been here. Well, have I been here twice now? I don't remember. At least once. Brad would remember because he was with me. Anyways, yeah, very interesting place. Yeah, look at some of I love these forms. Look at the curved forms and the circular forms. All sculpted. And of course, now the one thing we haven't done any building yet with is Hempcrete, but Hempcrete has some very interesting possibilities. I'm really intrigued by that. It doesn't have great compressive strength, so you don't want to use it for load-bearing walls too much, but it does have very good insulation properties. And if you're just doing a single-story structure with it, you can, and it's only bearing the weight of a roof. It's okay, but you can't go up a couple of stories with it. But you can use it for a facing. See, I have actually got some photos here. I think I'll jump ahead here. We'll go back to, yeah, here we go.
Hempcrete.
Okay, Hempcrete. So let me see now. I went to put this on my onto presentation mode. It goes to my other screen.
Yeah, you need so you need to share that other screen.
So now how do I share the other screen?
You just gotta end this share.
I got to end this share.
And then hit the share again.
Stop share. Ah, okay. Share. Got it. Okay. Now you should be able to see it in presentation mode.
Yep, there we go.
Okay, there we go. So there's a Hempcrete block, flame resistant and water and pest resistant, all good qualities, lasts hundreds of years, excellent quality, naturally non-toxic, we like that. Incredible insulation, we like that. Energy efficient, we like that. Strong, lightweight, and breathable. And all it is hemp, lime, and water. But like I said, the one drawback is it's not good in compressive strength, but you know, there's plenty of workarounds. So
for a series of cabins,
yeah,
that'd be perfect.
yeah. And yeah, I would say that once we've acquired the property, we would set up, I don't know, you know, where you'd find a good source of hemp. I mean, it's industrial grade hemp, obviously. And you have to have a shredder, and then you have to have some kind of a mixing. Yeah, look, here's some examples. It's pretty nice, isn't it?
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
Looks like it would smoke nicely.
Check that out, you cynic. It can give a real nice, smooth stucco look.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And here you can see it's being sprayed on, sort of more of an insulating capacity. The actual structure is being carried by the 2x6 studs there.
Is that how you smoke it? The way what that guy's doing
That
there?
dude's really got a good smoker right there.
Yeah.
There's just some great jokes going on.
Yeah,
in
the
the
chat's
wish you
really
guys could see
rolling
these.
with the Hempcrete jokes.
All right. Right now, I want to say, cut it out, people. This is serious
Aw.
business.
Okay,
No more jokes, chat.
No more jokes.
cut the jokes out.
Oh, there's a dog here scratching at the door. Hang on for a second. It's becoming very annoying.
All right. We can wait for you to let the dog in.
Okay, he's gone. Let's tell more jokes.
Yeah, all right, let's bring the jokes back, chat. He's gone.
He's yeah. That's some kind of interesting gravity bong he's got there. He's-
Okay, come on, Otis.
Mix it with mycelium bricks. That's a good one.
That's a great one.
Okay, let's
Serious business.
All right, back to serious business, chat.
back to serious business. Okay. So here, I would say what they're doing is they're actually using the hemp blocks as they're forming. And you can see they got the rebar in here. So I imagine they're planning to backfill or fill these cavities with concrete, and then most likely just leave the hempcrete. And now you're going to have the concrete will be the structural part of the wall, and the hempcrete will provide insulation and soundproofing and so on.
Russ, can you let Brad in? Said
Yes.
he's in the waiting room.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to slide the move the slide forward. This
Yeah,
is what I
we were
was talking
looking
about.
for the rebar, but
Yeah, so there you see the rebar coming up in the corner.
Yeah, so it's corrugated on the inside, so you can actually pour concrete on the inside of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, we've used some stuff like that.
we used grid wall before.
well, the thing is though, you don't take this down, you leave it up.
Right.
Yep,
Yes.
that's right. It's the same thing. Yeah.
But you can, like, you run the rebar in there, and you can weld the rebar together or tie it or whatever, and then when you get to the top of the wall, you can fill that interior space with concrete if you want.
Yeah. Yep. That is exactly the idea. Oh, look at that. There's a house built of hempcrete. I like that. It looks smooth. Because then, of course, obviously you can put a stucco type finish over it. And I would imagine with that rough texture that it has, that the stucco would bond real nicely to
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at here.
So hemp block.
Hemp blocks, yeah.
Yes, there's a 2-story structure.
Well, yeah, except let's see if we can zoom in here. Let's see. So
Welcome back,
yeah,
Brad,
but I don't
by
think
the way.
I'm gonna guess if we look here, I wanted to
Randall
zoom
wants
in
to build
more.
the entire institute out of weed. That's what we're talking about right now.
I think you get a lot of volunteers to help with that.
Yeah, I think we can get a lot of students, man.
So the block is, I'm guessing from what I can see here that the block is not being used as the main structural component. It looks
Well, I
to
mean,
me
if
like,
it was open web block, you could always fill the cells with structural material, probably concrete or something.
well, I so far have not seen any examples of open web hempcrete blocks. I think they're all pretty much solid.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, see, then it looks to me like they've got I can't tell, but it looks to me like this is like a 4-inch, perhaps poured concrete wall. I see what looks like a poured concrete wall here. So this may be a hybrid system where they've got concrete carrying the loads, and then the blocks are, finishing it out and adding, and it would have an enormous amount. Well, yeah, look up here. You can see where they're facing. Yeah, look, you can see on here, I can't tell if this is cement concrete block or if it's poured. But look, see the hemp blocks are faced.
Yeah.
And you can actually see this is probably black 90-pound roll felt that they've put on the walls between them.
Yeah.
And then it looks like a steel column.
So what's
down there.
what's the R value of the block? Do you know? Is it
No,
really
but I'm
high?
sure you could find it's high. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And here's some cool things somebody
Wow.
did with Hempcrete.
And they
So yeah, if it has the plastic quality. You can mold it into. You're going to see one here. The next one you're going to really see this. This is an architect. I forgot where this is, but he really was trying to push the envelope to see what you could really do with this material, and did this.
Wow.
that
Nice.
is cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look on that left end, how it just,
Yeah, it's just floating out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of rebar in this thing.
yeah.
But it'd be interesting. I don't know the procedure he used. Obviously, there would have been a lot of scaffolding with this. But yeah, I mean, so I just intrigues me. The idea of getting into some experimental architecture with new materials, that always intrigues me. So
All right. Well, you want to go back to the question?
yeah, what was the question?
Question was, let's see if I can find it.
Afford to travel.
Yeah.
Oh,
How did you afford to travel around and visit all the places you have and gain the knowledge you've got?
Oh, well, a couple of things. I mean, I read a lot. I talk to knowledgeable people a lot that know more than me about things that I want to learn about. I go places and try to learn specifically. I study lots of maps and scientific papers and read books. But as far as how I afford, in the older days, I would pretty much, just save my money. Rowan and I would have jobs going, and
Yeah, Randall and I are in general contractors, and we've been general contractors pretty much our whole lives. Our father was a GC and a home builder, and our grandfather was a GC and a home builder. So we've stayed in the business, and we've been together here in Atlanta since '83. Randall was here and I moved down in '83. So we started our business then. And we have quite an extensive clientele. So we always stay very busy. And so that doing that has afforded Randall some of the time and financial resources to do that.
and then I also, did some tutoring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tutoring and classes and things like that too. So,
Yeah. And usually I would just save up for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. And then we'd typically finish a job, or I would be able to get away for a week or two. And then, off I'd go. And I started, Brad and I met in 96 or 97.
Yeah,
Or
97 really, but yeah, started working together in 97, but yeah, we met in 96.
So Brad came on. He actually was working with me and Rowan for a while, and then he trained as an electrician under Julie, my wife, who has a master's license in electrician's master license. But then I think Brad and I did some little minor traveling, but 98, we did a 2-week tour. We planned ahead, we saved our money and went on this 2-week tour of the Scab lands in, I think it was August of 98.
Right.
And we've been going back a lot since. So now, of course, we started after, years of that, paying for these recon and research trips out of our own pocket. Now that we're doing the tours, we started, I think, the first tour, I think that I actually got paid for was the Contact at the Cabin in Colorado.
Yeah.
So, that was a great tour. We had a wonderful time and rented a chalet. And so that was pretty much, now we're doing these tours that, covering our expenses, plus we make a little, and we're trying to make enough to really move forward with the next level, which is this project. And the project is to establish, I'm looking for a good all comprehensive term for it, but a school / research center / conference center / retreat. And at some point / a community, because what we're envisioning is going to require a staff, a faculty to run it. But I've developed over 30 years an entire curriculum that includes some, rather conventional stuff, programs, things that the kinds of things we're interested in. Geology and astronomy and paleontology and archaeology, but also geometry with an emphasis upon the philosophical side of geometry, the so-called sacred geometry, which has been a big part of my interest for many years. And as builders, you have to know some geometry, but, part of the inspiration of this project that we're envisioning is some of the great enterprises of the ages, where people came together and created amazing things, which is one of the wonders of the ancient world over and over again, is the infrastructure that they created. Whether we're looking at ancient Egypt, whether we're looking at standing stones in the British Isles, whether we're looking at stepped pyramids in ancient Sumeria, or stepped pyramids in, Central America, the list goes on, the monumental earthworks of the eastern woodlands of North America, the Puebloan architecture of the Southwest and Four Corners area, the Incan architecture of South America. It goes on and on and on. I think when you really begin to get down and start thinking about the specifics of our own history, you realize how incredibly important the creation of this sacred infrastructure was to ancient peoples. All through the ages. And there's a tradition there. And this is what's interesting to me about this tradition, is when you go in and you begin to look at, say, a Gothic cathedral, and it's the magnificent soaring arches and flying buttresses and the ogival vaults and everything, the stained glass windows. And then you go out and you would look at a standing stone circle, a megalithic stone circle, and they look very, very different, but they're both part of the tradition of sacred architecture. And whether you're looking at a ring of standing stones in British Isles, a Gothic cathedral that was built 3,500 years later, whether you're looking at a temple in Southeast Asia like Angkor Thom or Angkor Wat, or you're looking at Mayan structures in the Yucatan, or you're looking at the layout of monumental earthworks, they're all very distinct, right? Obviously, a truncated mound of earth in Ohio doesn't look anything really like a temple in Cambodia based on the Vedic principles. But here is the really remarkable thing. All of these outer forms, as varied as they are and as diverse as they are, they're all based upon the same template. And that to me is a really extraordinary thing to try to explain within the framework of conventional historical models. And either you pay no attention to it, pretend it's not there, or you dismiss it by saying it's all just some kind of coincidence. Most of the people, professionals, academics, or even lay people who are partially aware of it, they can easily dismiss it because they haven't looked into it to see the remarkable parallels, the geometry, the way the site is dedicated, their type of ritual that dedicates the site, the geometry, the astronomy that's incorporated into it. The consistency of these elements is so pervasive around the world on basically all continents, with the exception of Antarctica, and we don't know what we're going to find eventually under the ice of Antarctica. But throughout the whole of history, for 4,000 years or 5,000 years of history, or around the entire world, we find these examples of these things. And it's as if the craftspeople that were designing and building these things were all working from a common template, a template that had an extraordinary amount of inherent adaptability and creativity built into it, so that it allowed for a very widely diverse manifestation of expressions in different ways that could come into three-dimensional existence, but all based on the same template. So you can go into Stonehenge and there'll be a summer solstice sunrise alignment, right? That defines the major axis of Stonehenge. You can go to Fort Ancient in Ohio, and that huge, vast circular earthwork structure, its axis is aligned to the winter solstice sunrise. Really? And then you can go all over the effing world and find them doing the same damn thing. You can go down to Casa Rinconada in Chaco Canyon, and there you've got a summer solstice sunrise alignment, so that you have a window. And on that one day of summer solstice, when the sun is as far north on the horizon as it gets, a ray of light will shine through that window, and it will illuminate a niche or a niche on the opposite side of the wall, which obviously at some point must have held an effigy or some kind of an object that had, a sacred association with it, and it will illuminate that niche. Now, how interesting that on the morning of summer solstice, while there was undoubtedly the ancient Puebloans there engaged in some type of a summer solstice ritual and watching this alignment, at the same day, somebody over in megalithic Britain is watching the same alignment, the same shaft of solar solstice sunlight shaft shining through the axis, shining over the heel stone and shining right down through the axis of Stonehenge. Now, what are you to make of that? Now, if you had one isolated instance example, like I just cited, you could say, okay, well, yeah, you would expect that these ancient people are going to, sooner or later, they're going to do some things that are, parallel each other, but no. It's over and over and over again. We find the same phenomena going on. So what am I getting at? What's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that it really challenges our conceptions of ancient history and what was going on. And the thing that constantly comes up in my mind as I'm looking at this, when when you see a Gothic cathedral, just like, well, you guys, when you went to to Egypt, and you're standing there before these 480-foot tall pyramids, and you begin comprehending and thinking about the level of social organization, the manpower, if I'm still allowed to say that, the manpower, the knowledge that went into that, from engineering to astronomy, even you'd have to know that the bedrock bedrock geology, because you got to know that the bedrock is going to sustain this incredible weight for a long period of time. I mean, the knowledge that came together that made that Giza Plateau possible, the knowledge that came that made it possible to build these extraordinary 80 of these extraordinary Gothic cathedrals. Now, you agreed that we went into the chapel there at Swanee and how impressive that was. But the thing is, as impressive as you are in that space, you have to bear in mind that when you're in one of the authentic Gothic cathedrals, from Chartres to Amiens to Reims, those vaults are twice the size of the one we were in, twice as high.
Yeah.
And there's a certain feeling that you get from being in there that it's really almost indescribable. But there's more to this, there's more to this that really just begs questions and examinations. And so I guess I'm going through this long circuitous route to get back to this idea. For 40 years, I've been trying to understand this template. And I think I've got enough understanding of it now to say, you know what? I think we could take what I've amassed, not just me, but also some other researchers that have been really focusing on this kind of stuff, and say, I think we have enough pieces now that we can more or less recreate that template. And perhaps having the possibility or the ability to recreate this template, maybe that's an indication that it's time for us to undertake something similar, something in our own historical epoch that is the manifestation of whatever it was that peoples were inspired and motivated to accomplish throughout history and around the world. Because obviously to build those 80 Gothic cathedrals took an enormous amount of dedication, right? You don't have just a group of people coming, hey, let's do this. No, you've got to have hundreds of thousands of people involved in a project like that. You got 80 of these great monuments going, 500 lesser abbeys, but all part of this phenomenal 150-year roughly construction miracle that happened in France. Well, if you looked at that just as an isolated phenomenon, it would be as interesting as it could possibly be. And yet, go over to Southeast Asia and in Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, amazing pyramids and elaborate temples being built with extraordinary sculptural programs that are just defy your imagination. When you go to and you look at the Gothic cathedrals, again, they have these sculptural programs that just like overwhelming. And you go and you think, my God, you have to quarry these stones, you have to dress these stones, you have to have people creating these amazing, enormous stained glass windows. You have to have engineers coming together that can figure out how to put up 120 or 130 foot vault without it collapsing. Right? You've got astronomers involved. Somebody has got to be able to feed the workers, house the workers. When you look at the scale of medieval society, and I'm singling out the cathedrals, but that sort of serves as a prototype, if you will, because the same thing is going on in Southeast Asia. The same thing is going on over in America, because look what's happening in that same century or two. You've got the classical phase of Mayan building. You've got the final phase of the amazing building in the Southwest, Chaco Canyon, when they were bringing in enormous numbers of timbers to build that infrastructure in Chaco Canyon. At the same time, you've got the last phase of the great monumental earthwork architecture in Eastern North America that built these, like Cahokia and many of these other huge structures. So it's not just in Europe. You can see that this phenomenon is going on multiple places around the world. And this is after a period of where not a whole lot has been happening. There was a big lull in Mayan building. There was a lull. You had the old Romanesque churches, but nothing on the scale of Chartres, nothing on the scale of Amiens. These are amazing places, right? Now, where did the know-how come from? Who did that organization to organize the armies of master sculptors, of glaziers, carpenters, engineers, architects, astronomers, geometricians? It's a phenomena that conventional models of history cannot explain. But here's the thing, there's a template. And there's been a handful of us researchers working on this for decades. And I think, like I said, now I think there's been enough of the specifics that we can now, in a sense, maybe call it reverse engineering. We can reverse engineer the system. And the question that is raised in my mind, of course, is what's the origin of this system? If there is a template, a common template that was serving as the inspiration and the motive to all of these diverse cultures through history, what was the source of it? Where did it come from? Is it the spontaneous, coming out of people's brains for some reason? There's some, cosmic ray that hits the earth and everybody goes, hey, look at here. Let's build cathedrals that have this kind of geometry, this kind of astronomy, this kind of stuff going on. And on the other side of the world, somebody's going, hey, let's get millions of tons of earth and pile them up according to certain geometrical forms and have astronomical alignments in it. How do you explain that? Unless somehow there was somebody, something, some agency, some group that had the template and was able to, I don't know the answer to that. It's a mystery. And it just boggles my mind that a mystery on this scale can be so neglected within the conventional models of our own history. It just doesn't add up. There's this huge, gigantic question mark glaring at us when it comes to the conventional models of our own history on this planet. But I think that one of the responses to this could be on our part is, hey, here's the template. We know that they were doing these kinds of stellar and lunar and solar alignments. We know that they were studying the subsurface geology to find the fault lines, to the joints in the rock and the movement of underground water. We know they were doing that. We know that they were incorporating certain geometrical proportions over and over and over again. We know that, right? Well, there's a bunch of these things that we know now, and we start integrating them. We're almost beginning to see enough of the system that we could say, okay, hey, what would happen if we tried in our own milieu, in our own culture, and in our own time to resurrect this system? Might be interesting.
I definitely think it would be interesting.
Let's get started.
And it would be, I guess I was kind of imagining when you were talking about starting to replicate this system, if it was publicized and it was awe-inspiring by people that came and saw, what you could imagine, there's the possibility it could start like people getting interested in wanting to build more, and that like it could grow. Like we have all this communication now where it can be all, the publicity of it can be all over the world instantaneously. So it would be interesting. I mean, how do you, like you're asking, in ancient times, did they somehow know that everybody else was doing this? So it was like, yeah, let's do this. It's awesome. That could very well happen today with modern technology. So it would be cool if it started like a trend.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying that that the process was exactly replicated every time. I probably wasn't. I think that, that the system and its employment was diverse enough that it could be adapted to various cultural needs. I mean, obviously, if you're building the Eastern Woodlands, what have you got to work with? You've got a lot of earth and a lot of timber. You've got some stone. If you're building in the Yucatan Peninsula, you got a whole lot of limestone, right? And so you go down there and you see that the temples and the buildings are built out of the native limestone, just like we were talking about, Stonehenge is built out of rhyolite and other sandstones that are locally available. So different cultures will have different mediums at their disposal, and they have probably different traditions that they've come from. And it just, as you look at it, it seems, that it really has this capacity for almost infinite adaptation to a specific set of, cultural and natural circumstances. So a big part of what I would like to do is, again, just sort of creating some prototypical replications or attempt to replicate, even on a small scale, some of those ideas. And I think I'll do
But it would be really cool to see those ideas replicated with everything that our modern technology has to offer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be amazing to see what we could do with it.
Wouldn't that though? Yeah, it would definitely be an amazing thing for sure.
Well, while you're looking for what you're going to show us, I want to say thanks to Noah, donated $50. Thank you very much. And also Rex asked a question.
Okay.
Randall, do you have a specific design for your knowledge temple, and will you be incorporating all of this knowledge into the structure?
And the answer, Rex, is yes, yes, and yes again.
Excellent.
So yeah, but yeah, it's going to extend to more than a single building, because the entire complex has to be organized into a reflection of this higher order. Now, the other thing is that we find repeated over and over again is the idea that, well, it's a fundamental alchemical idea, the linking of heaven and earth. And so in so many of these examples, what we're actually seeing is an attempt to duplicate the celestial realm onto earth over and over again. That's one of the fundamental ideas. I am going to do another share screen here. Let's start with this. And okay, now we should I think I'm finally learning how to use two screens. There we go. Share. All right, you see what's going on here? They've simply inserted a pole into the ground, and they're carefully monitoring the movement of the shadow through the course of a typical day, and then longer term through the course of a year. And with that, you can lay out the cosmic angles. And so right there, you're translating the movement of the sun, which is obviously the primary celestial object in our existence. You're tracking the motion of the sun throughout the course of a year, and it's going to be unique depending on the latitude that you're at. So this was always the first step within the symbolic process. Actually, this is the second step, because the first step is the laying out of the geomantic map. And I'll come back to that in a second. But we're just going to go through, let's see, through a few slides so you can really get the sense. Stonehenge is summer solstice sunrise alignment. You can't really see it, but the heel stone is right here. And this marks the most northerly position of the sun throughout the course of the year. It comes on this one morning, it rises over the heel stone and shines a shaft of light down the main axis of Stonehenge, right? Go to the next one, and there's Fort Ancient, Ohio, which is a winter solstice sunrise alignment. And you can see when you stand at the center of the complex and you sight through this deliberately created notch within the earthwork here, right there, this is the southerly most position on the horizon that the sun will rise through its yearly Earth's yearly transit around the sun. And then as you're facing here, you're facing, what I say, this is sunrise, you're facing east. So north would be to your right. So then the next morning, the sun will be rising a little bit to the right, the next morning a little bit further. And then as you move away from the solstice, then the sun will not be seen to rise in that notch anymore until one full year has gone by and it's made its journey as far north as it's going to go to summer solstice. Then it reverses and swings back. This is what's called a horizon calendar. And here's what I was talking about earlier, Casa Rinconada in Chaco Canyon. And this shows a summer solstice sunrise alignment. And here it is shining through the window. Let me see, is it this slideshow? Nah, I got another slideshow where I'm actually showing the niche and the possible effigy that was in there. But in any case, this one morning, summer solstice, the sun ray comes through this window. And then you have Casa Pueblo Bonito. Let's go here. There we go. It's Pueblo Bonito. And it's laid out on both solar and lunar alignments. And, you know, the moon has this oscillation back and forth on the horizon that it fully completes itself over 18.6 years. The midpoint of that was enshrined in this particular structure along the wall here, is aligned on the position on the horizon that's the exact midpoint of the moon's journey back and forth across the horizon throughout the course of that 18.6 year cycle. And then at Serpent Mound, you've got a sunrise solstice sunset alignment. Check this out. And here it is pointing directly on that position on the horizon where the sun is setting on its summer solstice. So that's its farthest north position that it's going to reach. So this is in the west, right? So you're facing the west. You're facing west. North is to your right. South is to your left. Here's the Etowah Mounds at Cartersville, Georgia, and it has a summer solstice sunrise alignment, and it lines up with the two mounds B and C. This is the main mound here, the Temple Mound, it's called. It's about 70 some feet high. It used to be maybe 10 feet higher, I think. Now, since this picture was taken, this aerial, they've cleaned, they've taken the trees down. So the mound is now seen in its pristine form. But in any case, if you go stand on the center of this mound and the center of this mound, and actually I've looked on the center of this mound, and there is right there at the center of this mound, there's actually a depression, which my first impression would be that that little depression once held a post. So if you stood on the center of this mound and sighted along this line over the center of this mound, it pointed to the solstice, summer solstice sunrise. And in the far hills, there is actually two hills that come together, forming a natural notch that's similar in a way to the notch at Fort Ancient, with the difference that it was natural. So they apparently took that alignment and used it to position the two lower flat top mounds here. Winter solstice sunrise alignment at Newgrange, Ireland. And here it is. And I'll put an arrow in there that you'll see. There's your winter solstice. So the axis of this entry passage, the passageway, lines up. So if you're inside there looking out from the dark of the inside of the passage out this opening on the morning of winter solstice, you're looking directly at the position on the horizon where the sun is rising. And here is summer solstice sunrise alignment, Bighorn Medicine Wheel, Wyoming. There it is right there. Check this out. Now there's that alignment. You can't tell me that that's just accidental. This is the alignment. This is the main axis of this structure. Even though it looks rather crude, it's a spoked wheel. So undoubtedly they were using this ceremonially. You know, when whoever built this thing probably didn't just build it and then abandon it. There was probably a period of time of occupation, and there would have been a priesthood. There would have been some kind of a ceremonial observation, some kind of a ritual enactment that would have taken place with this particular event on this morning. But get this. So same morning, you've got this in Wyoming, you've got Casa Rinconada, you've got Stonehenge. You see what I'm getting at? So now you've got multiple places around the world where on the same day, I mean, we're very safe to assume that, yeah, there was these groups of people out there doing some kind of an observation, and they were doing the same thing all over the world. So, and here is, I've been here, but not on this day. I'd sure like to get back there on this day. This is Descent of the Kukulkan, the Cosmic Serpent at Chichen Itza. Here's your spring equinox sunrise alignment. And the way the stepped pyramid is oriented, as the sun rises in the east, it shines across the staircase effect here. Then it creates an effect of sun and shadow on the balustrade of the staircase. And then right here at the mouth is the serpent, the head of Kukulkan. So they definitely wanted to create this impression of the serpent, Kukulkan, the heavenly serpent descending to the earth. So as this, you can picture this, as the sun rises, the coils of light of the serpent are descending the balustrade. Let's go Chartres Cathedral. Now this is a final example. This is a really cool one though. So on the morning of summer solstice, the sun now gets as far north as it's going to get through its annual cycle. At noon, it's as far north as it's going to get, right? And only on that day is it in the position where a shaft of sunlight can penetrate between these two buttresses. And right here is a stained glass window. Now, interestingly, the saint that stained glass window is dedicated to is Saint Apollinaire. Get it? Saint Apollinaire. So he's obviously a Christianized version of the sun god, which, you know, the name immediately tells you that. So the shaft of light at high noon, only this one time each year, passes between the buttresses, hits the stained glass window, and in the darkness of the cathedral, now let me jump back one here. This is the nave, and this is the transept. So the nave and the transept are intersect here. And on the floor, right in this area, and you'll see a picture of it in a second, there is a very prominent tile or stone, flagstone, that's very distinct from the rest. You'll see that in a second. So when you go to the interior, there's the window dedicated to Saint Apollinaire. Now watch my arrow right there. I don't know if you can see it, but right there, at the tip of my arrow is a clear glass chink. It's just a clear opening. So when that ray of sunlight passes through the buttress and hits that window, it's hitting that spot right there. And as a result, a shaft of sunlight comes through the window, comes down here, and at the floor where the ray of light hits is this very distinct flagstone set aslant to the others, conspicuous floor tile with a metal tenon right there found at the crossing of the aisles of the nave and the transept below Saint Apollinaire. And on that moment at high noon, the shaft of sunlight comes down and illuminates the metal tenon. Now, is that pretty wild?
It's amazing.
It is amazing. So again, what I'm getting at here is
people have been
it's
doing
like,
this all over the world across thousands of years and hundreds of cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like there's a template of some kind.
Mm-hmm. There's the same motivating ideas seem to be at work in all of these instances. The next one is interesting. You probably know this already. Mm-hmm. Great Pyramid of Cheops.
Yep.
That it's actually not four-sided.
Right.
It's got that indentation.
Mm-hmm. Which is completely invisible when you're standing on the ground in front of it, by the way.
Right. And especially now with the casing stones stripped off. Can you imagine what this would have looked like when the smooth, polished limestone casing stones were still there?
Yeah, and it's not clear if the casing stones would have hidden it or not. Right? That's the other thing.
Yeah, I think that somebody proposed that, well, maybe it was like to channel runoff of water.
It could be, yes.
It could be, but so I was able to, and I did this years ago, and I would need to redo it just to verify and make sure that that I've did all my calculations correctly. I'm pretty sure I did, but I was able to determine the amount of hollowing in. Now, we've been looking at this idea of a horizon calendar, right? And because of the fact that the Earth continuously moves around the sun at 66,600 miles per hour, which, by the way, is the rate, 18.5 miles per second, right? 66,600 miles per hour, right? Well, as the Earth continues to move around the sun, then what's happening is that every day the sun will rise, if it's just the day or a few days after winter solstice, every day for the next 6 months, the sun will be, if assuming from the northern hemisphere, the sun will be rising a little bit further north every day. On spring equinox, it will be rising due east. Another 3 months, each morning it'll be a little further north until it gets to summer solstice, and then it stops for a couple of days, and then it turns around and starts going the other way, right? Well, what that means is you could go back to the picture of the Borneo tribesman with the pole, right? So if you're there getting the shadow of that pole every single morning throughout the course of the year, you'll see that angle is changing, right? From one morning to the next. You can picture that, can't you? Okay. Yeah. So now that shadow is changing every morning. Well, it's changing at a known rate, and you can extrapolate and go, okay, how far would that change from one day to the next, or from, say, a sunrise to a sunset on a particular day? So if you go one day of the change from the latitude of the Giza Plateau, that angle at which the sun changes between sunset and sunrise is the angle that defines the hollowing in.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Did you follow what I was saying?
I did, yeah. So you're not going to have this perfect,
correct
180 degree line, because it's going to rise here, and then it's going to set a little bit off perfectly straight line.
Now, what kind of level of engineering perfection and craftsmanship would that take? I mean, really, this was, we're in between crops. Let's get up there and get up out of the Nile Valley up onto the plateau, and in our spare time, all the farmers will get together and build this thing. Or the pharaohs will get out there with their whips cracking. And because when we were kids, it was, it was all built by slaves. It was just a monument to the pharaoh's ego. And it didn't go beyond that. Like, really, somehow that explanation just doesn't seem to add up to me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, I hate to cut this short, Randall, but we're already almost 15 minutes over. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh,
well,
sorry, people.
See, it's all Frank's fault, because he got Randall going on that.
That's right.
Subject.
Yeah, we can blame it on Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Frank.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. And Noah also. There's been a couple more donations, one from Noah, one from Luke, and some questions, but we may have to just tackle those in a future live stream because we're already over time here.
We don't have time for even one question?
Well, Luke actually put like 16 questions in his comment. Let's see.
He did what?
He asked, he put a bunch of questions in one comment, but he wanted to know what you thought of Bimini Wall, underwater pyramids, land rising, high Brazil.
Okay, the Bimini Wall, maybe natural, maybe artificial. I don't know. I don't consider it to be Atlantis, though. But if it's artificial, hey, maybe it was an outlier.
True.
Okay, anything else quickly to conclude?
No, that's it.
Did you guys talk about the Easter event coming up?
No, I don't think we did. We have an
your
event
job, Brad.
coming up in Sedona, Arizona, starting Easter weekend. And it's going to be pretty fantastic, actually. Maybe we have time just quickly to, I should have had this up here already.
Yeah, this would be like our last live show to be able to promote that thing. I know I just got a message when we started that it was like the last day to get the right hotel rooms in the right places. And you guys are good, Russ.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay. If people go to worldviewsmedia.com, our friend Robert has put up a lot of stuff promoting this. I'm going to, let's see here.
Yeah, it's World Views Media with a Z on views.
Worldview Z Media.
There you go.
Yeah, World That's it. worldviewzmedia.com.
.com.
And I can put the links in the description as soon as we're done.
Yep.
Good. Yeah.
So we'll be there at least one of the weekends on Easter, I think. Kyle and I'll be there. Brad's going to be there. Randall's going to be there. Rowan?
George.
Where am I going to be?
Where are you going to be, Rowan?
You're gonna be at home growing a beard.
Yeah, yeah,
Quit building all this stuff and you can come too.
yeah. Well, I'll have the first pyramid built on Cumberland Plateau when you get back.
All right. Fantastic.
It better be
It better be
8-sided.
8 sides, Rowan.
That's right.
Okay. So here we go.
Thanks,
This
Kyle. He's still
one of-
apologizing for the Canadian dollar.
So
I
there's-
keep making fun of you.
yeah,
You don't
there's
have to
in
apologize
person-
for that, oh boy.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we got, let me mention a couple more donations we've gotten rolling in here. Ancient Sanctum, thank you so much, $10. Also, check out Ancient Sanctum's YouTube channel. She helps
Will do.
moderate. So
I'm
do
writing
that.
it down right now.
Thank you.
And Ronan, $10. Kyle DeLille, another 20. Maple Leaves, thank you, buddy.
Okay. Are you guys seeing this?
Yes.
Yeah. There's myself, Graham Hancock, and our good friend George Howard.
George Howard.
And I can't wait to hang out with George
Heck
and
yeah.
Graham, of course.
Yeah.
It's going to be a riot.
It's going to be fun.
But we're getting into some very cool stuff. Let's see
You can
if I
see the date there. It was April 15th to the 17th, so that's coming up pretty darn quick.
Yep.
10 days out. So yeah, Good Friday, Saturday, and Easter Sunday,
Yep.
depending on how you assess your calendars.
So there's a bunch of different options for people, and there's also going to be a live stream of the whole thing. So if you can't get out there, yeah, there will be a live stream.
That's
So
right.
yeah,
Right, and that's all happening through our how-to partnership, and I'll add those links too. They're all ready to go and be purchased, and catch the whole weekend if you can't be there. Actually, both weekends. Sorry.
yeah, we're getting into some really interesting stuff, and we're going to one of the primary focuses of the conference is going to be bringing people together and sharing this information about how we might adapt this template to our time and our world as it is now, because I think that ultimately what the whole phenomena is about is increasing the measure of harmony in the world, and that's something I think we could use more of right now. And so there's going to be a lot of Spencer Taylor will be there. He's going to be showing clips from his new documentary that he's been working on for 7 years. It's now in post-production, The End of Recess, where he basically deconstructs what's really going on with modern, monopolistic compulsory education and how it's utterly failed us. Bertram Tsavadawa, the Hopi, is going to be there. We're going to be, guided out to some very interesting archaeological sites and geological sites in the interim on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday between the two weekends. And there's going to be some other surprise guests there. David Mathisen, right? Speak for a minute about David Mathisen.
Yeah,
Russ.
Mathisen will be there the
following
the
weekend,
Earth
yeah.
Day weekend, and Mathisen has excellent and fascinating takes on star myths is what he does.
Yeah.
But he's basically he shows you how every mythological system around the world is all painted across the night sky. That all of them, that you can
Represented in the constellations.
That's right.
in
You
the
can
sky.
see the stories in the constellations. So,
Which is further confirmation that there was some kind of a universal system.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Painted on a backdrop that everyone can see, no matter where in the world they are.
And
Yeah, exactly.
he also has really interesting insights into the stories and how they relate to humanity.
That's
how
right.
they relate to the individual. It's very great. It's really, really good stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to guide people to a conversation that Dave and I had recorded about a week ago, hosted by Robert Dakota, and we dive into some really great stuff, and we share we share some imagery and things like that. And it's like 40 minutes, but it's excellent. It's a really concentrated dose of stuff. And then Graham Hancock and I also had a conversation, and these things are, I think Mike Robertson is posting all of this on HowTube, I believe, or the links. Brad, you'll have all the links, right? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm sure there's some new stuff that's just gone up, but yeah, I'll put all that together. I don't know that Robert's edited the interview you did with David, but
Okay.
it's all going to be available, yeah, for people to check out, and if they can't be there, to also just be enticed by what you're teaching and what Dave's getting into, and how all this big story is coming together. As above, so below.
Yeah, man. And of course, as I said, the live stream will be available, and it's kind of a fundraiser. It's kind of a fundraiser in a way, because we're trying to really pull together the resources to do something on an epic scale over the next few years. So
We need it.
we need it.
All right, guys. Great live stream.
Thank you, Bruce, for the beer
Thanks.
money.
Yeah, Bruce sent us $20 in beer money. You got to start drinking some beers, Randall. All these people.
Would this
are
be
buying-
Bruce.
Would this be our very own Bruce Silva?
That's right. That would be Bruce Wayne.
Cheers,
Bruce
buddy.
Wayne.
Batman.
Bruce Wayne. He's our guy. Yep.
All right, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
for having me, fellas.
All right,
We
Rowan,
enjoyed it, Rowan.
Yeah.
you'll be back.
Come
Good-
back.
Good night, chat.
Okay.
Help us give Randall shit.
Thanks, mods.
Yeah, okay, I will. I'll come up with some gems
There we go.
for you. Okay.
All right. Good night, everybody.